The Miami Dolphins have been making quite a bit of noise so far this offseason. They've made a lot of great moves and signings, but there is a glaring problem they have not made adjustments to or fixed yet. The Dolphins finished the season with a 9-8 record under new head coach Mike McDaniel and ended up making the playoffs after an 11-6 win over the Jets in the final season game. While Tua was on the field, the Dolphins looked really dominant with their explosive offense by having stars such as Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. But when Tua wasn't on the field, things started to change and the team collectively played at a much lower level. Tua ended up suffering 2 concussions, possibly 3 during the regular season, and the controversy around handling Tua's concussions ended up leading to a change in concussion protocol. Tua only played 13 games during the 2022 season, while backup quarterbacks Teddy Bridgewater and Skylar Thompson filled in during his absence. Tua ended up throwing for over 3,500 yards with 25 touchdowns and only 8 interceptions. Teddy Bridgewater threw for 683 yards with 4 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Skylar threw for 534 yards with 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions in the regular season. In the postseason, he threw for 220 yards with 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. Clearly, the Dolphins will perform at their absolute best when Tua is on the field, but in all fairness, Skylar Thompson ended up doing just enough to help secure the final regular season win over the Jets. And he played really well against the Bills in the wildcard round, even though the Dolphins lost 34-31. I don't think people were expecting this game to be even remotely close, and everyone assumed the Bills are going to win by a landslide. But this game definitely showed promise for Skylar's future, so we'll see what Mike McDaniel does with him. So far this offseason, Miami has been fairly active with acquiring new pieces needed to complete their roster and have made quite a handful of moves. The biggest splash the Dolphins have made, and quite possibly might be the biggest of any team made so far, is trading for Jalen Ramsey. The Dolphins ended up cutting quarterback Byron Jones, and the Dolphins won't be able to receive the money with his dead cap until June 1st. With him no longer on the team, they need to pursue a new cornerback and went out to get Jalen Ramsey. The Dolphins traded their 2023 third-round pick and tight end Hunter Long, who has 1 career catch. It made sense for the Rams to trade Jalen, as they are probably going to a rebuild phase here soon, but this was an absolute steal for the Dolphins. Jalen ended up not having a great year with the Rams, but it's expected he'll bounce back to his former self, especially since he'll be paired with cornerback Xavier Howard, while also being under new defensive coordinator. A few weeks ago, the Dolphins fired Josh Boyer and went out to hire a new DC, Vic Fangio. Fangio's new 3-year contract currently makes him the highest paid coordinator in the NFL. Being a Dolphins fan, I absolutely love this hire. I can't wait to see what this defense does. The Dolphins then signed former Jets quarterback Mike White to a 2-year, $8 million contract, including up to $3.5 million signing bonus and $4.5 million guaranteed. Also went out and signed former Titans linebacker David Long to a 2-year, $11 million contract, including a $4.5 million signing bonus and $5.5 million guaranteed. One of my buddies who's a Titans fan said that he wasn't sure why the Titans didn't re-sign David Long. Despite the soft tissue problems, he really produced when he was on the field, so this will be a great asset to have for the Dolphins. They also went out and got former Jets wide receiver Braxton Berrios. He signed a 1-year deal with a $3.5 million contract. I think he will end up being utilized as the punt returner for the Dolphins, which will definitely help the special teams. The Dolphins re-signed all 4 running backs to their roster from last season, among those being Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr., Salvon Ahmed, and Myles Gaskin. Gaskin and Ahmed are on fairly cheap contracts, so it's uncertain if they'll be there when the season starts, but they'll just be there as reserve for the practice squad. They also decided to sign Tua to his 5th-year option, which honestly makes complete sense. They want to make sure that he's going to be able to last a full season before they fully commit to him. And as far as their losses go, Trent Sherfield went on to sign a deal with the Bills, and tight end Mike Gesicki signed a deal with the New England Patriots. Gesicki didn't really seem to fit with McDaniel's scheme, and his presence on the roster just felt very odd throughout the entire season. Instead of re-signing Gesicki, they went out and acquired former Broncos tight end Eric Sauber. This was a great pickup in my opinion. His pass and run block ratings have been fairly consistent and high, and I definitely expect him to make a presence on the field by helping the offensive line. Now, the Dolphins' O-line is something quite interesting. Given with what happened with Tua this past season, it's hard to believe that Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel both intended on having the O-line perform the exact same way it did in 2022, because if that's the case, then who's to say that Tua is not going to end up getting completely Dolphins center Connor Williams, right guard Robert Hunt, and left tackle Terron Armstead are all solid players who have been able to perform. Terron has had a list of injury issues, but he still goes out there and tries to produce whenever he can, and when he is healthy, he's great. Then there are the two elephants in the room with Dolphins left guard Liam Eichenberg and right tackle Austin Jackson. Liam was the 42nd pick in the 2021 draft, and Jackson was the 18th pick in the 2020 draft. These guys have not been good to say the least, and Dolphins fans are fed up with the performance levels they have continuously put out each game. They did hire a new offensive line coach, Butch Berry, to replace Matthew Applebaum, so maybe they'll see slight improvement from the coaching side. It's really hard to say. I think the most unsettling part for Dolphins fans is, as it seems right now, there are no current plans to adjust any of the lineman positions. I mean, maybe Chris Grier plans on drafting somebody, or they're going to just waiting for the right piece to come along or be available for them. They have stated that they plan to bring in competition for the spots, which is great to say the least. But, you know, if you're going to go out there and acquire pieces that are not considered to be top tier or competitive, then you don't want to basically just hand in their job. And I hope that's not what Grier is intending on being the case. It just makes much more sense to bring in talent that will really test them and force them to become better if they do want to play. There was a tweet sent out by Duke Manyweather, who informed that Austin Jackson will be joining Terran Armstead over the summer at a training program led by Duke. Duke Manyweather is a mastermind when it comes to offensive line, so if he can help out Austin Jackson, then who knows what will. As for the draft, the Dolphins do not have a first-round pick due to the tampering issue last year with Tom Brady, so the first pick will be at 52. There is hope that they will end up getting Georgia tight end Darnell Washington. If for whatever reason Washington is unavailable at their pick, then they may end up pursuing Sam Laporta, Tucker Kraft, or pick up an offensive lineman to compete for the starting spot. Personally, I don't think it matters what Grier does, as long as the O-line that starts next year is miles ahead of where it was in 2022. This team is ready to win, and if Tua is able to play at a high level and stay on the field, the Dolphins are going to be a dangerous team to play next year, especially when you pair in the Vic Fangio defense with Jalen Ramsey as a wildcard player who you never know what he's going to do with Jalen. Jalen's going to be like all over the place in my opinion. I think Vic is going to revolutionize this defense very quickly and escalate from being ranked 27th up to possibly top 10 in the league in just one season. They have the quarterback, they have the receivers, the defense is set to be better, the run game is somewhat there when they need it, and all that's left to do is fix the O-line. The Dolphins also had the most injuries labeled on record for the 2022 season at 266 reports, 40 more than second place, which is insane to think about. If Tua and the Miami Dolphins can stay healthy with an improved O-line, they're going to be lethal next year, and no one's going to want to face them. Let me know what you guys think, and if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Almost like 80% of you that watch the videos aren't subscribed. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.